In today's video, I'm going to be unveiling a journal that I created as a guide for the introspective adventurer, designed to evoke a sense of wonder about your life and to encourage self-awareness and greater resilience. Welcome back to Living Well and Wild. For those of you that are new here, my name is Alexis and I am a certified health education specialist and board certified health coach on a mission to bring a little bit of magic to the world of health and well-being. Today, I am so thrilled to introduce to you one of the endeavors that I have been most proud of over the last couple of years, and that is, drumroll please, the Book of Extraordinary Things. Ooh, look at that glow. You gotta give it up for the glow. The Book of Extraordinary Things is a guided journal based on the science of positive psychology. For those of you that are unfamiliar with the term positive psychology, it is the science of human flourishing. In other words, how do we as humans get from merely surviving to thriving? And it differs from traditional psychology in the sense that typically traditional psychology looks at what's wrong with people, and positive psychology looks at what's going right with someone or what's going well for somebody. Now, this is not to be confused with toxic positivity, which is where people are constantly encouraging others to be positive when it is not helpful or realistic. Toxic positivity dismisses real feelings and struggles, which makes it really hard for people to express their true feelings or seek support when they need it. Positive psychology acknowledges that negative emotions and obstacles and challenges are all a part of the human experience. I will probably make a more in-depth video about this concept of positive psychology, so stay tuned for that. So I initially created the Book of Extraordinary Things because I personally wanted a journal that offered both structure and flexibility. Oftentimes I would really want to sit down and start journaling, but maybe I only had 5 or 10 minutes. And that's not saying with any other journal or a blank notebook that you couldn't do that, but that's where the structure part comes in. Sometimes it was so overwhelming opening up a blank journal or a blank notebook and wondering, how do I set this up? What do I write about? What's going to serve me best here when it comes to building greater self-awareness? So I was really looking for that balance. I wanted some free space because I am a creative person and I wanted to have a little bit of fun and use some of my artistic sensibilities, but I also really needed some of that structure in terms of maybe some prompts or some guided questions to kind of lead me through the journaling process. And also, I've mentioned this in passing before, but I am a huge geek. And so what I was really looking for was something that had a bit of a fantasy aesthetic, something that looked like a magical book or a grimoire, something that would look interesting, pulling it out of my bag or having it maybe displayed on, the bookshelf in my office. Most of the journals that I came across at the time, especially the guided journals, did not fit that bill. The initial concept for the Book of Extraordinary Things actually started out as the final project for a certification in applied positive psychology that I took back in 2018. So it's been a couple years now. So I couldn't get the idea out of my head and my imagination started to run wild. So I started with that initial first concept, which was actually just the 2-page journal spread itself. That was it. That's all I had at the beginning. And I just kept iterating and I decided that I was going to make this happen. I will actually insert a photo here of the very first iteration so you can kind of see what it looks like and my beautiful artwork and clip art and everything else that I use to kind of cobble this together myself at the beginning. And because I wanted to do this right, of course, that was going to cost money. So to help fund this project, I went the Kickstarter route and did a successful crowdfunding campaign, which allowed me to produce the first run of the journal. And when it comes to the art, I had the absolute pleasure and privilege of working with an incredibly talented artist and illustrator named Stevie Dutson. So Stevie did the cover of the Book of Extraordinary Things, and this is all her hand lettering, by the way, which is just absolutely still blows my mind every time I look at this book. And Stevie also did the spine. So you can see it's got the title and then the Living Well and Wild submark down here, which she also came up with. And then she also did the different section illustrations, which I will give you a sneak peek of here, if you can see that properly. So each of the 3 sections in the book has a title, which is over here, and then an illustration on the other side. And now here I will show a photo of all of the different concepts that Stevie initially came up with when we were talking about the design of the Book of Extraordinary Things. And let me tell you, choosing and narrowing it down to just one was so hard because she gave me so many different options at the very beginning as just kind of an exploration into the design, and they were all so freaking beautiful. It was so hard to narrow it down to just one. And especially for me, I can be very indecisive about this kind of thing. But thankfully, I was able to narrow it down, and I think we came up with a great choice. Throughout this whole process, I also wanted to make sure that everything was done as professionally as possible, or as professionally as I could afford to make possible. So next in the process was really working with editors to make sure that there were no egregious errors in my writing or in the layout of the book. Then, once I had the art, the layout, all of the content, all of the files put together, I started talking to a printer here in the US, and they were absolutely amazing. And they really taught me a lot about things like paperweight and binding and covers and embossing and all of these things that I had no clue about. So it was a really kind of cool learning experience as I was building this book. And I'm about to show you the initial proofs that I got in the mail that the agent I was working with at the printer was so kind to send to me. And I know it's typically part of the process to get the proofs, but I don't know, I had never done something like this before. So when I got these in the mail, I was screaming. It was like everything that was in my head, all of my ideas and creativity and imagination was literally brought to life right in front of me. Here is the actual book proof. I mean, this is pretty close to what it ended up actually being like. I don't think we made many changes from this. But it was so cool to get this in the mail. And then I really screamed when the cover, which he also kindly sent me, came in. And so this was the just basic cover from the book that he sent me. Even this is so beautiful. And of course, I had to hold on to it. Overall, throughout the whole creation process, I really feel like I lucked out with all of the people that I ended up hiring to work on the book. I know it can be super nerve-wracking. Like if you're getting something done on your house, for example, and you've never worked with that particular contractor before, I know it can be a little bit hard trusting somebody with your precious ideas. So I am so thankful to everyone that helped me along the way, everyone that I hired that had input on the book. And also, I wanted to give a special shout out to my husband, who was providing support and feedback for me along the way as well. And I really trust his advice. And also a shout out to my friend Mel, who generously gave some of her time. She is a very talented artist, and she offered up some of her time to do a little design review on some of my initial concepts. So shout out to Mel as well. Before we get into the different sections of the book and how they work and how you can use them, I wanted to just quickly mention some of the physical features of the book. First, looking at the outside, the cover is in a pearl black linen, and it has gold foil embossing both on the cover and on the spine. It is 6.5 by 8.5 in size. The paperweight is 80 pounds or 118.4 GSM. The book is 224 pages, so it would last for approximately 3 months with daily usage and approximately 2 years if you only used it 1 time per week. The book is undated, so you can start journaling at any time. There is a space at the top of the second page in the 2-page spread to write in the day or the date. There are also 2 gold ribbons for marking your place. And as I mentioned earlier, it was entirely made in the United States. The journal itself is divided into 3 sections. The first section being preparation, the main section being exploration, and the final section being reflection. Within the preparation section, there are questions designed to help you get to know yourself. For example, what are some of your strengths? What would you like to be doing more or less of? And what do you want to be celebrating in the near and far future? There is also a place for you to create a mini vision board through writing, drawing, collaging, or any other artistic medium that you're fond of. The exploration section is actually the main part of the journal, and it includes the daily or weekly journal spreads. Each 2-page spread contains an area to identify your top 3 quests, which are your priorities, a blank space called field notes for creativity, lists, bullet journaling, or whatever you want really. And those 2 sections are on the left on 1 page. The second page of the spread contains the guided prompts, which are based on the principles of positive psychology. The prompts include: what is one good thing from the day or week? How did I use my gifts? Who did I help or who helped me? What inspired me? What am I proud of? And the final prompt is a space to record your mood. And one thing I'd love for you to keep in mind is that the prompts in this journal are simply a guide. If you are not feeling it one day and maybe you just want to draw your feelings in the field notes space and draw a big red X on the prompts because it is just not the time for that, then of course that is your prerogative. This is your journal. This is your container for your thoughts. And at the end of the journal spreads, there are several full-page field notes sections for you to, again, use for bullet journaling, used for lists, used for tracking things, used for drawing, or doing some other type of self-exploration. The final section, reflection, has space to contemplate your experience. The prompts in this area are an opportunity for you to examine your journey and give some thought to the way ahead. Until I relaunch my website, coming very soon, you can find the Book of Extraordinary Things on my Etsy shop, which is linked in the description box below, along with a few bundles that include some journaling stickers that I've created to help make your experience a little bit more magical. Every book also comes with this free Magic is Within art card, also designed by Stevie Dutson. I have so many more ideas that I want to bring to life, including, for example, a set of quest cards that can be used in tandem with the Book of Extraordinary Things and have the same kind of magical vibe, and more stickers and more tools and more resources that can help you with the journaling process, because I know how hard it is to be consistent and to get regularly into the practice. I still struggle with that sometimes too. And a few other creative things that have been brewing in my mind that I cannot wait to share with you. If you are watching this video and you already have a copy of the book, maybe you were one of the initial Kickstarter supporters, or maybe you bought a copy when it was still available on my website, I want to say thank you so much for your support. And I'd love to hear in the comments below about what your experience has been like using the book so far. For those of you who have already established a regular journaling practice, I would love to hear about your experience, or maybe some tips you might have for someone who's looking to start a journaling practice, and maybe some of your favorite journaling accessories that you like to use. And that's going to wrap it up for today's video. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your subscribes. I appreciate it all. And as always, my wish for you, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, and may you live with peace and ease. Take care of yourselves, be well, and I will see you next time.